You only get one shot. This moment is all you get. You're wasting your time. You're an anomaly. I end anomalies. Like you never existed.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Caitlyn today. It is another character seen from the Arcane series. It is an AD carry, very strong in the early game because of a high auto attack range. So her passive, your auto attacks will give you stacks of their passive guys, and once you have 6 stacks, then your next auto attack will become empowered, dealing bonus damage depending on your levels and also your crit chance. If you stay inside the brush while you auto attack, then you will get double the amount of passive stacks. So when you help out your jungler level 1 with that rip off, then try to stay inside the brush guys so you can get that passive up faster, meaning you're gonna deal more damage and they will be able to clear a lot faster as well. The Q is that poking ability. It is AoE, meaning that it's gonna damage everything in its path, but keep in mind that the initial target, the first target it damages, will receive full damage, and then anything after that will get less damage. So now when you try to hit enemy champs, try to make sure there is nothing between that can reduce the damage. So try to hit them when they're not hiding inside a minion wave. Your W are those traps you place on the ground. If somebody steps on them, then you get that passive headshot up immediately. You get that extended auto attack range as well. So you're gonna deal bonus damage to somebody who steps on your traps. It is also going to grant you true sight on them, meaning that even if somebody is invisible, if they step on that trap, then they will be revealed. And of course it also roots. The way you use the traps, guys, is that you want to use it to zone people out with. Early game, Caitlyn is very oppressive, can be very oppressive if you play it right. You can use the traps to zone people away from the minion waves, completely zone them away actually. So the power curve of this champ, she's very strong in the early game, falls a bit off in the mid game, that's why she's kind of weak, and then she's super strong in the late game again. So you play for the early game, and then you of course also play for the scaling because it is an AD carry. Their job is to carry those late game fights. But in the early game, you want to abuse that long auto attack range. Try to harass people as much as possible with those auto attacks. Don't let them farm for free. But if you're playing in a high kill lane, like the Nautilus and Pantheon, then you have to watch out. Because that's the lane you're gonna outskill anyway. So you might as well play it passive, scale up. Because Pantheon is an early game lane bully, he wants to go for kills early on. If he doesn't get any kills, then he's gonna fall off. But Caitlyn is very strong early game, really abuse that extra auto attack range you have, guys. Get those auto attacks in, use those W traps to zone people away. And your E, guys, if you hit somebody with that caliber net, it is going to slow them, and then it also gives you that empowered auto attack on them if they get hit. So a lot of your damage comes from that headshot passive, because your W can prog it, your E can prog it, and then of course your auto attacks can also prog it. Really have to play around that headshot passive, because so much of your damage is in that ability. It's going to deal insane amount of damage in the late game. When you have your crit items, you can take you can one-shot AD carries with it, if you have a big enough lead. This is how you want to use your E as well. It is your only mobility spell, guys. So if there's an opponent with a lot of skill shots, then you can use that ability to dodge it with. And if you hit them with a net, then of course they're also going to be slowed. And as I said early on, they'll also get a passive stack. Use that to kite with, and then also place those traps perfectly. Because even if you place it on top of someone, then there's a short delay before it procs. So I had to make people run into it. But the thing that makes the traps really OP is the fact that this is the best Sonya's Hourglass counter in the game. In high elo, people will even refuse to buy Sonya's Hourglass if there's a Caitlyn in the enemy team. That's because when they proc the Sonya's Hourglass, you can place a trap on top of them, and then as soon as they come out, then their trap will proc, they will get rooted, and they'll probably end up dying anyway. So it is the biggest Sonya's Hourglass counter in the game. Extremely powerful ability, especially if you use it right. You know, when you fight for objectives, you can place it at the entrances so people cannot walk in. You can completely zone away the enemy team, so there are lots of different ways you can use the traps. In the lane though, Caitlyn is the champ that has prio most of the time. So if you're under the enemy tower, then you can also use the traps to kind of zone them away from the minion waves. So that's also another way you can use it, guys. If you hit that Q, then that's going to deal a lot of damage. So that is what's going to decide the lane for you, the amount of Qs you can hit. Also making sure that it's dealing the full amount of damage, meaning that you want to hit the enemy champion as the first one, so they don't take reduced damage. But it's also your wave clear. When you want to push fast, then use that Q through the entire minion wave. Later on in the game, it is going to take out the backline minions, meaning your wave clear will be a lot better. You can place a trap right there, and then more traps, so just completely zone away the enemy champ. You force them to take bad paths, and then when they come out from the wrong side, then you can just auto attack them, you know. That's how you want to play Caitlyn. Really want to abuse that early game power, because in the mid game, she's a bit weak, but she becomes super strong again in the late game. You want to abuse that early and late game. And she has a lot of different supports that she synergizes well with, because it's a relatively safe AD carry. But something like Morgana is really OP with Caitlyn. Anything will kill pressure as well. Thing is, if Morgana hits the Q, then you can follow up with the traps, and then the opponent will just be permanently CC'd. But she works well with any high kill lane, you know, like a Nautilus, Leona, Thresh and so on. She works with pretty much everything. So of course you want the Berserkers as your first item, and then we're gonna build into the Gale Force right now. That is the core component on a lot of AD carries. The mobility is absolutely crucial, especially in the later stages, because you are playing AD carry, so you're gonna get one shot by a lot of champs at that point in the game. So mobility is extremely important. But also that active, not only for the mobility, it also gives you that extra bit of burst damage. That gap closer can be used to finish off targets with, if they're out of range. The item is a lot better on Jhin, but it's also really good on Caitlyn as well. This is how you can use it to counter the Pantheon's engage. Whenever he W's into you, then you just press that E. So you're going to be out of range for his auto attacks, and then you can trade back. Really use your traps probably like this, so you zone the enemy champion completely away, because nobody wants to step on those traps. They're gonna take a lot of damage from your empowered auto attack, and then you can also follow up with a Q if you want to, and then they're gonna take even more damage. But do be careful, it is still an AD carry. You know, if an assassin roam spot or something, you're gonna get a one shot, guys, so play it safe, play it smart as well. Even though you have a strong early game, still have to respect the enemy champs. If they have a high kill pressure bot lane, then you will not be able to play as aggressive, even though Caitlyn's early game is strong. Just let them push, farm safely under the tower. Respect jungle ganks, respect mid lane ganks, play it safe. You're gonna outskill anyway, so no need to rush stuff and then risk dying and giving the opponent the lead. Just constantly poke people like this. You can see how much damage your Q deals if you hit the enemy champion as the first target. This is the power of Caitlyn. We have 2 kills right now, but that's not really anything at all. We are not super fed at this stage. But even if you had no kills, then that Q will still deal a lot of damage. Play for the tower plates, but also respect enemy jungle ganks if they come in. Really use those traps properly. If you think they will chase you inside the brush, then place those traps so they will end up running into it. They can help you get away, they can also help you trade back. First core item will be the Gale Force, but if you're low on mana, then you might as well recall before you can even afford the item, because you really want to make sure that you're healthy. You have enough mana, you also have vision. So if you don't have any wards in the map, guys, then make sure to get those control maps on your base. Vision is super important. But even though control wards are super important, don't waste too much gold on them, because if the opponent constantly clears them out, then they're gonna get a lot of gold and you also lose a lot of gold because it is pretty expensive. So if you cannot use them properly, then don't keep buying them. It's a bit early rotation we are doing right now. That's because we wanted to help the mid laner out. You can roam early on an AD carry, guys. People in high elo do that a lot. It's not like you have to AFK on the bot lane. If that's a good opportunity, then make sure to roam, help out your laners, because they can really turn the game in your favor. So back to bot lane it is. You want to get your core item, you want to get that Gale Force, you also want to get your crit items. When you finish the Infinity Edge, that's why Caitlyn comes back online. She is super strong and it's only gonna get better from there. Also when you get the rapid fire cannon, Lord Dominic's, you're gonna scale absolutely insanely. Always make sure to abuse the traps. You should probably keep one in your pocket in case you're getting ganked or something, so you have that extra defense tool. But if you're really dominating the lane, guys, then just place all of them under the tower, get the opponent completely away from the minion waves, and just constantly harass them over and over with the auto attacks. Caitlyn is a very strong sieger, so when you get to the point where you have to group with your team and siege for objectives like the towers, that's when you can really abuse the power of this champ. Got enough gold for the Gale Force right now, so of course you want to get it as soon as possible. Now the next item, guys, is gonna be the Collector. First of all, you want the Infinity Edge, but you don't have enough crit to make use of the passive, so you want to make sure that you're getting a crit item before that, so you have the Gale Force. And then you want one more crit item, which is the Collector on the Caitlyn, because it has great synergy. Once you have that, that's when you can get the Infinity Edge, and as soon as you have that item, that's why you gotta carry the game. That's why your damage goes through the roof. You're gonna absolutely melt people, especially if they step on those traps. As I mentioned earlier on, guys, your empowered auto attack scales with crit chance as well, so as you get more crits, you're really gonna feel that extra difference in damage output. But this is also how you can use the Gale Force, you know, if they're out of range from your auto attacks, you do not have to flash for it because you have that item active. And this is why the traps are so OP. You can place them when the opponent is going to teleport, and then they're going to be stuck in the traps, they'll be rooted. You get that empowered auto attack, and then you might even be able to win the fights. So this champ is very obnoxious to play against. If you're playing a champ that relies on getting the Sonya's Hourglass, like the Fist for example, or the Twisted Fate, because even that item will not help you out anymore. That's why people really hate building Sonya's Hourglass when Caitlyn is in the enemy team. So the sieging part has begun. We got the bot lane tower, so you just want to rotate so you can take the remaining outer towers. Siege with your team, guys. Don't waste the traps, place them when you really need them, meaning that when the opponent is coming to defend, that's when you gotta zone them out. We also do not want to overextend. Really abuse that headshot passive that works with your W and your E. Get that bonus damage off. Your headshot cannot be body blocked, guys, so that's also important to know. So even if they're hiding behind enemy champs, it cannot be body blocked. but your ultimate can. So be careful with that, the way you use it. In the later stages, you don't have to use it to get the kill with. Because it deals a lot of damage to squishy targets, so you can even use it to like put them to low HP right before the objective spawns, so they will be at a disadvantage. But it's great for catching off those escaping targets if they're low HP. But it's also good to like harass the opponent, you know, right before objective spawns. So they either have to base or they have to fight at a massive disadvantage. Do not use it on the tanks though, unless you can get the kill. You want to hit a squishy target with it, you know, like a mid lane mage, assassin, the AD carry or something. It's even better if it's a champ that doesn't have lifesteal or any form of sustain, because then they will not be able to heal up from the minion waves and then they probably have to base. And then you might even be able to get the objective for free. And this is how you can use the ultimate, you know. That's why this blue trinket is so good in Caitlyn, because you can use it to get vision of an area and then you can finish them off with that ult. Also, your ultimate gives you true sight. You know, so right before a champion goes invisible like the Talon in his ultimate, if you attack him with that ultimate, he's going to be revealed, so you can use that to get vision, so your teammates can target him as well, and then you can get the kill together. So your W and your ultimate gives you true sight. Now you got the collector, small spike, but we still want the infinity edge. Once you have that, that's when you start carrying. This is how you play Caitlyn. I hope this was helpful guys. As always, thanks for watching and see you all in the next one.